Hi, good morning one and all. Today we can discuss about structure of vertebrae. Now this one is the vertebral column. This vertebral column they having a vertebrates. How many vertebrates is there for us? 26 vertebrates is present. Now for this vertebrae they having a disc shaped like structure is present, that is called as a vertebral body or also called as a centrum. From there they having a elongated part is there, that is called as a vertebral arch, that is connected by a transfer process. Suppose the ribs is articulated with this vertebrae. Now I already said this is the ribs, this is the head, this is the neck, and this is the tuberculum. Head is articulated with vertebral body, followed with the neck, then to the tuberculum. Tuberculum is articulated with the transfer process. That's why they having a two articulation is present. That's why ribs are bicephalic nature. Between the ribs, this is another vertebrae, another vertebrae. Between the vertebrae, this is called as a intervertebral disc. Now last class I already said they having 5 types of vertebrates is present: cervical, thoracic, lumbar, sacral and coaxial. Among the 5, the strongest vertebrae is the lumbar vertebrae and it is the largest one. Cervical, how many vertebrates is present? 7 vertebrates. In that, first vertebrae is called as a atlas and the second vertebrae is called as a axis. Okay. Now if you see the back near the neck region, they having a two elongated structure is present, that is called as a occipital condyles. Below they having a vertebral column. Atlas is articulated with the occipital condyles. Middle they having a axis. That's why in atlas, like this, in atlas they having a axis is present. Now that process is called as a odontoid process. For this articulation atlas with axis, for rotation of head they having a joint, that joint is called as a pivot joint. In joint class we can discuss about that one. Okay, that's why for the occipital condyles, which vertebrae is articulated? Atlas is articulated with the occipital condyle. Okay, now how many ribs is there? For us 12 pairs of ribs is there. All the ribs is articulated with the thoracic vertebrae. Okay, now that's why the ribs is articulated, jointed with which vertebrae? Thoracic vertebrae. What is the main use of this vertebral column? The vertebral column they can protect the spinal cord and also it can support the skull and also useful for the attachment of ribs and back muscles. Yesterday I show sternum. Sternum is also called as a breastbone. Now you have to take this one is the sternum. This is the anterior part, upper part. Okay, now this anterior upper part is called as a manubrium. Middle part is called as a body and posterior end part is called as a xiphoid process. Before they having a cartilage here, hyaline cartilage. After 40 years that cartilage is ossified, it will be turns to bones. That process is called as a xiphoid process. Okay, now we can go for the appendicular skeleton. See, I already said appendicular skeleton having how many bones? 206 bones. This appendicular skeleton is divided into 2 parts. One is the pectoral part, another one is the pelvic part. Pectoral part having pectoral girdle and forelimbs. See, what is pectoral girdle means? Pectoral girdle is articulated with Suppose you have to think this is the axial skeleton, middle bones and forelimbs is connected with pectoral girdle. Okay, now this pectoral girdle having clavicle is also called as a collarbone, and backside they having a triangle shaped bone is there, that is called as a scapula is extended from second rib to the seventh rib. Between this they having a scapula is present. Now this one is the scapula, it is the triangular shaped bone. This scapula having a elevated ridge is present. This elevated ridge is called as a spine, and this is a expandable process. This expandable process is called as a acromion process. Here the muscles is attached. Below this they having a cavity, that cavity is called as a glenoid cavity, and this is the collarbone, that is the clavicle. That's why clavicle is articulated with the acromion process, another side it is articulated with the sternum. That's why axial skeleton and appendicular skeleton is connected with what girdles? Pectoral girdles. Now if you go for the forelimb, that is for the hand, the first, that means the humerus is articulated with the glenoid cavity, and from little finger region they can be having a long bone, that is called as a ulna. Beside they having another bone, that is called as a radius. The wrist bones, that is called as a carpals, and here they are having a metacarpals. Here they are having a digits, that is called as a phalanges. That's why humerus, how many? One humerus, one radius, one ulna, carpals 8, metacarpals 5, phalanges 14, totally 30 bones are present. They having a 2 hands, 30 into 2, totally 60 bones are present in the hand region. Okay, now if we go for the pelvic region, they having a coxal bones having divided into 3 bones: ilium, ischium, pubis. Ilium, ischium, pubis fuses, they can form a coxal bones. This coxal bone they having a cavity, that is called as a acetabulum. Now this is the thigh bone, that is called as a femur, and they having a kneecap, that is called as a patella, and they having a tibia and fibula. In ankle they having a bones, that is called as a tarsals, and they having a fingers, they having a bones, that is called as a metatarsals, and they having a digits, that is called as a phalanges. How many is there? 14. That's why femur 1, patella 1, tibia 1, fibula 1, tarsal 7, metatarsals 5, phalanges 14, totally 60 bones are present. 60, 120. And then collarbone, how many collarbones is there? 2, clavicle 2, scapula 2, and then coxal bones 2, 6. That's why clavicle 2, scapula 2, coxal bones 2, 6, 120. 126 plus 80, totally 206 bones are present.